So apparently EA has made another round of layoffs as of late. It's something that people are in the gaming world are talking about right now, and the amount of people who've been let go this time is has been unreported. We don't know if it was like massive or it was just like a small number of people who got laid off, but obviously this is just EA trying to do everything they can to, I guess, get ready for this upcoming $55 million buyout from Saudi's public investment fund. And and honestly, like this is something that I don't know, a lot of people in the gaming industry, they're not really like I feel like they're against it for the most part. And the reason I say that is because there's like a petition going around online to, I guess, block it from happening. But I don't think that's something that's necessarily going to happen if that's what the executives and EA want to do. And and it's not just like Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. I think there's two other firms that are a part of this deal as well. And and one of those firms is an investment firm that was founded by the president's son-in-law, I think. And yeah, it's like it's a massive buyout, and I honestly feel like it's something that is going to completely change EA for better or for worse. And a lot of people feel like it's for worse because you look at the direction that EA has been going for the past couple of years, like the FIFA series ended back in 2022 because I think the licensing agreement between EA Sports and FIFA had expired after like 30 years, and I think the expiration took place back in 2022. And obviously, like EA Sports FC has not been nearly as popular as FIFA because, well, A, it's new, B, um, the brand name, um, I don't know, it's not as popular, it doesn't sound as catchy and it's not as like iconic as, FIFA. And then the last entry we got in the Need for Speed series was in 2022, which was Need for Speed Unbound. And I feel like that game was okay for what it was, but at the same time, there were better entries that we got back in the day, especially during the 2000s decade. And I don't know, ever since then, I feel like Need for Speed has been irrelevant for the most part. And the crazy thing is, like, FIFA was probably like EA's biggest IP that drew the most like revenue. And now that that's done and over with, it's like obviously EA had been suffering financially within the past couple of years. Um, I think The Sims is still a thing, but it's not nearly as popular as it was back in the 2000s, early teens. Um, you still have Battlefield, Madden NFL, which I hardly hear anyone talk about Madden nowadays. Um, Medal of Honor, I feel like has been irrelevant for quite some time. Uh, Star Wars Battlefront is somewhat relevant because of the Star Wars IP being big and being something that casuals are familiar with. But yeah, I feel like this buyout is something that was kind of inevitable considering the direction that Electronic Arts was going in. And and I feel like, they got lucky with Battlefield 6 because don't get me wrong, it was a great game, but I don't think anybody expected it to have the level of success that it did shortly after its release this past year. Because I heard the game did like 7 mil in terms of sales within like 72 hours. And it's made like $1.4 billion in revenue. So that's really impressive. And I don't know. I don't know if that's enough to kind of like help EA, turn things around on their own. And yeah, I honestly feel like this buyout was something that was practically inevitable, and I doubt that a petition is going to, make EA change their mind about um, going through with it because I think the deadline for this for like the deal to go through is like next month and like the 22nd of July or something like that. And and I honestly feel like it's one of those things where they feel like it's something that's absolutely necessary because it'd be better than the company going bankrupt and then, it having no value and nobody wanting it, whatever. But at the same time, this seems like way too common with a lot of video game entities nowadays. There's been like so many buyouts like post COVID to a point where it's honestly crazy, and I feel like it's a trend that's only going to continue like throughout the rest of this decade into the next decade. And I have no idea what the future of gaming looks like at this point. I'm pretty sure like things are going to be more overpriced than ever. Like a standard like, video game nowadays, it's like brand new for like the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or Switch 2 is like, anywhere between like 70 to $80. And then a lot of people feel like they're not like they feel like they paid more than what they got, in terms of like video games and stuff like that. And I feel like that's a trend that's only going to get worse. But I have no idea how things are going to, look, for EA under the Saudis control. And I have no idea like what it means for like all the popular IPs that are owned by EA, because everybody loved, Need for Speed for what it was. They loved Battlefield for what it was. They loved The Sims for what it was, and FIFA for the most part. We're not going to get any new FIFA games anymore, so I don't know. I don't know if this is going to make EA more appealing in the eyes of gamers or in the eyes of casuals or what have you. But I do feel like it's a move that is being done strictly for like business purposes and to, I guess, um, make EA more popular than it's ever been. But we have no idea what's going to happen, what the plan is, what to expect um, under EA from like I guess this year going forward. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens and see whether or not it's going to have a positive or negative effect on any of the IPs owned by Electronic Arts.